What's going on, everyone? So the Dallas Mavericks got the prize that is Kyrie Irving. Take that as you may. But nonetheless, it was an actual good return, right? They gave up Spencer Dinwiddie. They gave up Benny Smith. Gave up a 2029 first round pick, 2029 second round pick, various second rounds, right? So the thing is, though, is this deal, and credit Dallas for this deal, because they were able to get Kyrie Irving to pair next to Luka Doncic for a very reasonable package, right? I mean, even the Clippers offered more than what this was. And now there are all kinds of reports that, the Brooklyn Nets are going to maybe even trade Spencer Dinwiddie to try to upgrade, or, try to package together pieces to try to upgrade because they want to build around Kevin Durant. But regardless, whatever happens with the Brooklyn Nets, Dallas got Kyrie Irving and got put in a position that does one of two things. One, Kyrie Irving comes to Dallas and is great, right? And the relationship works. Now, there are a lot of questions about that relationship, right? Luka is a very ball-dominant basketball player, one of the most ball-dominant and highest usage rate ever. So how is that going to be in comparison to Kyrie Irving? Like, a great example is look at Jalen Brunson, right? He was an 11-point-a-game guy next to Luka, and he didn't really blossom until Luka ended up getting hurt. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Jalen Brunson, he can ball. Like, this guy might be a 20-point-per-game scorer. And he turned like a little 9-game stretch or whatever into a max deal with the New York Knicks. And he's performing to that level. He's been very good for New York. So how is it going to look with Kyrie, who's averaging 27 a game, next to such a ball-dominant player and Luka? Now, this could be great for Dallas. If they can figure it out, then you have two playmakers, two legit scorers, although Kyrie is a more natural scorer, right? A guy that can score on all three levels. He's just an incredible talent in and of itself. But there's also questions of is he going to want to really be in Dallas? Is he really going to buy in Dallas? What is the situation going to look like in Dallas? Is he going to leave in the offseason? Because he's not going to sign an extension during the season because he only gets 2 years. But in the offseason, he could sign that 4-year max that he wants to get. So that's something that we're going to have to look forward to. If this dynamic doesn't work, Kyrie could just walk. This is a huge risk for the Dallas Mavericks. But personally, I don't think it really is, because let's say it does work, right? Then perfect, right? Kyrie resigns, maybe he's happy there, and it's a beautiful thing, right? And now you got Luka and Kyrie to build around for the foreseeable future. You got a nice solid vet who hopefully he's not a leader, right? But he can come in and really add a different dynamic to this Dallas team. And you can always keep one of them on the floor at all times. Because that's a big thing right now, is when Luka gets rest or Luka misses a game, Dallas is terrible. I mean, they're 0-7 without Luka, and they are just a mess when Luka isn't there, because the team is built around Luka being just so high usage, which is why it might be hard for Luka to take a step back. Not saying he has to now all of a sudden be the number 2 guy. He's definitely going to be the number 1. I'm sure Kyrie knows that. I'm sure Kyrie is aware of that. Kyrie, I don't think, has a problem being the number 2 guy. He was with LeBron. He was with Kevin Durant. So I don't think there will be that power struggle there, but it's just the fit, right? Can Luka be a guy that can have another star next to him? Or is he a guy that you can only put really high quality rotation role players, right? And he's good enough to lead you to a championship. Is that what it is? Because in theory, Dallas was just in the Western Conference Finals and they just added Kyrie Irving. So the idea is oh no, this team could contend. Now, defensively is a big concern. I don't believe Dallas is going to work this year. And I just personally don't see it. I think they're going to score a lot of points. They're probably putting up 130 a game, but they're probably giving up 150 a game. They have no size in the interior. They don't really have any defenses on the exterior. And their perimeter is going to be a real issue. And this is a team that really lives and dies by the 3, although Kyrie can add a different dynamic to that and help in closeouts. But is Kyrie going to be able to do that? Games on the line, 5-point game. Is Luka taking those shots? And Kyrie's just kind of standing there as we see with everyone else, right? Late in games, Luka's doing his little, thing, his little sidestep, his little step back. Like, is it just going to be Kyrie relegated to being a spot up 3-point shooter? Or is he going to be able to have opportunities and moments to close games? Because he's more naturally that guy. I mean, Luka's an incredible talent, don't get me wrong. But Kyrie is a very dynamic scorer and a guy that has won NBA championship, right? He won and hit the big shots. So he's a guy that can close. And so it's really going to be very interesting to see it. I just don't think it's going to work this season. So does Kyrie look at this and go, I'm here for a 3-month rental or whatever it is? Or does he look at it as like, okay, we'll see how it goes right now. And then worst case, doesn't work out. Well, we have an entire offseason, an entire training camp, and an entire preseason to figure it out and get it worked out so that now we can start trying to contend, right? Starting to compete. And maybe Dallas can move some pieces, get some things done. Like, what are they going to do with Christian Wood? Do they trade Christian Wood and kind of try to upgrade in that area? What kind of centers can they get? All of those questions, right? Defense, can they upgrade their defense? Because they just traded away their best defensive player. The other side of that is that he really is a rental. But it looks like the Dallas Mavericks may have went into this with the idea of Kyrie as a rental. So to add to what this means is that we got the reports per Mark Stein that Kyrie has no assurance of a subsequent contract from the Dallas Mavericks following his reported trade to the team, according to the NBA insider Mark Stein. It was also added by Tim McMahon that Kyrie Irving extension talks are expected to be put off until the summer. He is eligible for a 2-year extension now and a 4-year deal in the summer, what I relayed. But he also adds, if the Mavs-Kyrie union doesn't continue, Dallas will have close to a max salary cap space this summer. Now, the reason that this is important is immediately after the trade happened, there were tons of reports that Dallas might have just done this for a salary dump. And that could very likely mean that Kyrie Irving and the Lakers conversation could very well pick up in the offseason. Now, it is a much different situation, and that's something that I want to make clear. Do I think Kyrie comes to the Lakers after this point? Probably not. It's going to be really tough because you'd imagine, one, the Lakers make a trade and get something done. So now, the Lakers wouldn't have the cap space to now then go sign Kyrie, but do they get pieces that maybe Dallas looks at and goes, oh, well, we would like these guys? Like, let's say the Lakers do trade for, say, Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet, or Gary Trent and some combination of, let's say Jared Vanderbilt. Let's say they do multiple deals. Again, not saying it's going to happen, but let's say they get like Jared Vanderbilt, Beasley, Conley, and then they trade separately for Gary Trent, right? In the offseason, do the Dallas Mavericks go, oh, well, we would let's take Beasley, Vanderbilt, and Gary Trent and assign and trade for Kyrie? One, would the Lakers want to do that? Two, would Dallas want to do that? If not, then it becomes this weird, okay, well, Kyrie's gone. So then where does Kyrie go? Now, do the Lakers, because if they did do those type of deals, most of those guys can be free agents. So the Lakers could still clear about 30 to 32 million in cap space. Now, would Kyrie be willing to take that discount, or does he care more about the money and it would be willing to stay in Dallas? That's a real question. But when it came to the extension in Brooklyn, he was willing to walk, based on the reports, he was willing to walk and lose that money and wasn't going to sign an extension because he said it wasn't about the money. He doesn't care about the money. And Kyrie in the past has shown he doesn't care about the money. Not to mention, he would probably make that money back and then some, and brand deals, endorsements, maybe he can get a new shoe deal. There are a lot of variables that would go into a Kyrie Irving to the Lakers that he may be incentivized to do so. And if it's the Lakers will absolutely do whatever it takes to go get Kyrie Irving. That's just what they would do. I mean, they offered, based on the reports, they offered everything. The only thing is that Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, refused to trade Kyrie Irving to the Lakers because he didn't want to give Kyrie what he wanted. It was purely out of spite. So now, what situation does Kyrie find himself in the offseason, and is the Lakers a viable option? Now, the Dallas Mavericks, it's not really the end of the world, right? Like, yes, you lose Spencer Dinwiddie. He's a solid player. Yes, you lose Dorian Finney-Smith, which he might be one of the best sort of 3-and-D guys in the league. That is definitely a tough loss and a tough pill to swallow. But you'd have Luka and you'd have max cap space. Now, there aren't a lot of like star players in the offseason, but could they go and get some of those guys, right? Like, could they go, instead of getting one guy, get several guys? You know, if they have 34, 35 million in cap space, could they go and get several pieces to now bring those in, and maybe you get better production than what you'd get for Kyrie Irving, right? Like, that could be something as well. I don't necessarily think that Dallas did this solely with the idea of, oh, this is just salary fill. Like, we're just going to rent Kyrie for a couple months and then that's it. I do think they have the intentions to re-sign Kyrie if it works out, right? But I think that the way that they looked at it is it's a win-win. We would have to give Spencer Dinwiddie an extension the following season, right? So do we really want that? Is he the guy that we see as the piece that we need for the long haul? If not, get rid of him now. And in the offseason, you can always work out a sign and trade with Kyrie. I'm sure that they know that. I'm sure that they're aware of that. A team like the Lakers, you're probably going to get more than what you would have given, than what you just gave, right? The Lakers, so Dallas is in a position where they could recoup those assets and then some. They could recoup players and then some, right? So Dallas is in a win-win situation regardless. If everything else fails and Kyrie just walks and he leaves for nothing, Dallas still is in a good shape. The reason the Nets couldn't do that is because the Nets wouldn't have had cap space. They had Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons on a max. They had, Joe Harris in his contract. They have, several guys on like smaller multi-year deals. So they were cap strapped. They couldn't rebuild. They couldn't, go and replace Kyrie Irving. But Dallas can. So now Dallas, if they're in the position, one, what this does is it appeases Luka. Hey, Luka, we're trying to get you help. We're trying to get you a star. So let's see how this works. It didn't work. Kyrie left. Hey, don't worry. We're going to get you something. See, now the picture is, it wasn't us. It was Kyrie. It wasn't you. It was Kyrie. Don't worry. Let's give you that extension. Let's get everything up and back to normal. And we're going to continue to upgrade this roster. We're going to continue to find a star that is better next to you. We tried to get Kyrie. He was the only star available. He ended up bailing, right? Or he wants to leave. We're going to trade him to the Lakers. Whatever, right? You have that safety net. This is, however you slice it, this is the best case scenario for the Dallas Mavericks because it's a low risk, high reward. If they win and Kyrie and Luka are great, perfect, right? You re-sign them and all is right. If it doesn't work, you have your way out. And the Lakers will trade whatever they have to go get him. So maybe you could get Rui Hachimura and a couple pieces or something like that, right? Like the Lakers would very likely give up whatever they have to get Kyrie. I mean, they've tried on several occasions, right? They tried in the offseason and now they've tried now. So if Dallas goes, hey, we'll trade you Kyrie Irving. He wants to go to you guys. We don't want to just lose him for nothing. So we'll work out a sign and trade. Now the Lakers do that. Now you got Kyrie, LeBron, and AD. So the Kyrie to the Lakers thing is far from dead. That's why you continue to see the reports or hear the murmurs that like we could be right back here in the summer. Question is that in the summer, does it make sense for the Lakers? Like at that point, see the beauty of trading for Kyrie is you have his bird rights. So you get to keep basically all your guys that you could keep anyway, and then sign, with the taxpayer mid-level, vet minimum contracts, and then the biannual. Okay, now you got some pieces, and now you can build, 8-9-man roster, and you're good. And you got Kyrie, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Rui Hachimura. Got at least a core 4 guys, right? But if you sign Kyrie in free agency, that's something completely different. Because there's all your cap space. You're probably renouncing rights to everybody. You probably lose Rui. You probably lose, Austin Reeves. You're essentially giving everyone up now to sign Kyrie. And now you just have Kyrie, LeBron, and AD, and now you have the taxpayer mid-level, and you have the biannual, and then now it's just a bunch of vet minimums. Are those three plus a bunch of essential vet minimums, are they going to be enough? Or do you sign, or would Rui be willing to sign, a taxpayer deal or a biannual deal or something like that to where he could stay with the Lakers? They're going to have a lot of kind of configuring to figure out. But regardless, at the end of the day, I think this was huge for Dallas. Credit Dallas for getting the deal done. Credit Dallas for putting themselves in a position where it's a win-win. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yes, would it suck to lose Spencer Dinwiddie and Finney Smith? Maybe. But I mean, Dallas isn't winning anything anyway right now. They're a 500 team. So, what are your other options? You're going to stick with that team? Or you're just going to lose Spencer Dinwiddie for nothing? At least you're taking a chance on a superstar talent. And if it works, great. Then in hindsight, everything looks silly. But if it doesn't, then now you just at least cleared those guys off. Yes, you lost a first-round pick in 2029, but you're not worried about 2029. You got Luka Doncic right now, right? You're trying to build a contending team right now. And so no matter how you shake it, this is a huge win for the Dallas Mavericks. And we will see how this develops. It's very likely we could be having these conversations about Kyrie to the Lakers in the offseason. We'll deal with that when that is there. But I just wanted to make this video kind of just letting people know, cluing people in, and just giving my thoughts on the whole situation in general. I've kind of touched on it briefly in various videos, but I wanted to kind of dedicate a video to it. So here's that video. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think, hey, yeah, we'll sign Kyrie in free agency? Do you think, no, the Kyrie thing is dead? Do you think it's over? Do you even want them to sign Kyrie? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.